connection problem, you can actually view this after the event. For those of you who just joined, please turn off your mic and also your camera. Thank you.
Shaz, I think we can start now.
Okay, we can start now.
Yeah,
Okay.
start.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Sorry. Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Shazrin. I'm a UM student who's currently pursuing actuarial science, and I will be a host for today. So I believe that we have given you the agenda for today. Sorry, let me just admit this one person. Okay. Okay. As I was saying, I believe that we have given you the agenda via. Okay, wait. Someone just joined. Okay, as I was saying, I believe that we have given you the agenda via WhatsApp and also email. Okay, let me just show it to you now. Okay. Wait, let me just admit this one person. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay. Oh wait, let me just admit a few people. Okay. Okay. So, after my introduction, I'll pass it on to our moderator, Sherry. Then we'll start our first. Okay, sorry. We'll start our first session. Okay, we'll start our first session with the foundation talk by Naif. Then we'll pass it on to Aliaa. Okay, wait, people are trying to log in. Okay. And then after that, we'll have a short break before continuing with the A-level talk by Farah. Then we will have a Q&A session before concluding the event. So, okay, if you're wondering how are we going to do the Q&A session, you will not turn on your mics, because if you were to do so and all of you were to speak at the same time, it'll be hard for us to digest what you're trying to say, and we might actually overlook a few questions. So this is how we're going to go about the Q&A session. If you can see on the top right of your screen, there is a chat icon. Wait, sorry. Okay, there is a chat icon, and you'll send in your questions through the chat feature, and then we'll read out the questions and answer it for you. Okay, and also if you can see, 5 minutes are actually Oh, okay, 5 minutes are actually missing from each slot. This is because we're doing things online. So if there were any technical difficulties, internet connection problem, we'll ensure that the problem is solved within 5 minutes so that the event is not dragged. Yes, you asked the questions there. You can try like, okay, wait, sorry. Yep. Okay, that's all. If you have any questions regarding the flow of the event, you can ask me now before I pass it on to our moderator. Oh, okay, some of you just joined. So, okay, this is the agenda for. Okay, wait, someone just joined again. Sorry. Okay, so this is the agenda. So this is how the event will flow today, and I will repeat again. We will. So the Q&A session will be done via the chat feature. So you will send in your questions through the chat feature, and then we'll read out the questions and answer it for you. You will not turn on your mic because if all of you were to speak at the same time, we might not hear what you're trying to say and we might overlook your questions. So that's all, I guess. Do you have any questions regarding the flow of the event? You can ask now. Okay, wait.
Shit.
Mm, can you please turn off your mics for the participants? Thank you. So okay, I guess that's all. So if you have any questions, just ask us through the chat feature, and then we'll entertain you during the Q&A session. I'll pass it on to our moderator, Sherry.
All right. Hi, everyone. First of all, I hope you guys are doing well. And my name is Sherry, and I will be the moderator for today's session. Just a little bit of background about me. I did my A-level back in 2018 from Methodist College. And right now, I'm a first-year accounting student in UM. If you guys would want to further learn about A-level, you will be hearing soon from our speaker, Farah, and she'll be giving you all the details needed for A-levels, whether to help you decide if it's the right choice for you. And before that, we'll proceed with our first speaker, Naif, who will be sharing his journey in foundation. Naif, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Naif Ahmad Thaqif bin Hamdan and I'm 21 years old. And I graduated from foundation back in 2018. So it's about full 2 years now. And I now currently pursuing degree in economics. So it kind of sounds misleading that right that I've learned science in foundation, but I took a degree which is in a course that is far beyond science. So um, I will talk about that later, but right now I want to show you guys my slide. Okay, does you guys hear me? Okay.
All
So,
clear.
okay. Okay, right now, this is my slides, and I will be talking about my experiences in foundation. So let's go on our journey. So for intro, I want to talk specifically about Center for Foundation Studies in Science, back where I studied, which is also commonly known as PASUM. But I will also talk about foundation in general occasionally. If you guys, if you guys want to know about it, just ask and I will answer them accordingly. In this slide, I will talk about the requirements needed, the how is life as a foundation student, how much do you have to pay, and the possibility of getting a scholarship in foundation. Okay. So first question that needs to be answered first and foremost, what is a foundation? A foundation course is a program that will prepare you for an undergraduate degree at university. The courses provided do are limited according to the university itself. For example, for me, I studied at PASUM, and at PASUM we were only offered three types of foundation. The first one is Science Hayat, the second one is Science Physical, and the third one is Pengajian Islam dan Science. So you guys might ask what's the difference between these three types of foundation. So let me get you through this. The first one is Science Hayat. Science Hayat, which means which means you will learn about a biology type of science. You will have lab, you will have to learn physics, chemistry, which is the basic science subjects. And the difference with Science Hayat and Science Physical is that Science Physical students do not learn biology. They do learn about chemistry and also physics, but they don't learn biology. And they have an additional subjects of coding and computer science and advanced mathematics. So these two kind of different distinction will actually help them to go through courses in degrees that is uh, more of an engineering type of students. They can go to engineering, they can go to physics or computer science because they are specifically trained for that by learning advanced mathematics and coding, which is different from science science. When I told you that they learn biology, physics and chemistry, but they don't learn the advanced maths and coding. So that is the clear differences. And then the third one is the pengajian Islam dan Science. The third one, um, is more different from the other two because apart from science that they need to learn, they also need to learn about Islam. They will take an additional, if I'm not mistaken, B, but they are um, mainly focusing on Islam and science as the add-on. Okay, this is the three types of um foundation courses in PASUM. Okay, and then for another foundation, for the UITM, there are four types of foundation offered in UITM Bengkel. The first one is the science, the pure science, just like this Science Hayat. The second one is the engineering science. The third one is TESOL, and the fourth one is law. So it's kind of different from and UITM. So it kind of depends on you on to apply for this one for or UITM. And we also have another type of foundation in University Kebangsaan Malaysia, which is also known as Semasa Pintar Negara. You can also apply for that, but it's to apply for Mata Pintar, you will have to undergo several tests. Like me, I was offered to take a test in University Kebangsaan Malaysia back in Bangi to let them filter out people who will be able to join them in the Permata Pintar. And mm, and it's not being applied in UM and UITM because we do not have tests to enter. Only in UKM only. Okay. This is the picture of the Pusat Asasi Science University Malaya. There are actually two buildings. This is the new one and the old one. So I will only show you because it's better. Okay. And then so let's go to the first question that I want to talk about. How many A's should I get in order to enroll in a foundation program? So for this kind of question, I personally I did aim for PASUM since I was in high school back in 2016, and uh, I did my own research, and most of the blogs say that they do they actually prefer people who got straight A's, but it varies because some of my friends who did not score straight A's but were also offered to PASUM on different factors. They might excel in co-curriculum. They might join national competitions or whatever. For their uh, lack of for their to compensate for their lack of pace. Okay, and the other factor that I want to talk about is the order of your selection in the UPU. When you are applying for university after the SPM, you will have to order your selection in 12 I think, if I'm not mistaken. So your order of selection do play role in whether you will be picked or not, because when for example, they when they see that you actually put this type of foundation, so let's say UITM foundation at the top of the selection, they will think that, oh, this kid really wants to join us, so they will put on priority on this kid. And after that, they will also filter out everyone who do not put UITM on the first selection. Okay, it's kind of like the first filter, if I'm not mistaken, and then after that they will look into your academic, into your curriculum, into your um, what did you join in school, whether you join a debate or not, or whatever the thing. Okay, then here back in SPM I scored 4 A plus, 5 A solid, and 1 A minus, and I did put PASUM as my first choice, and alhamdulillah I was selected into PASUM. Okay, and then the second question will be, how is life as a foundation student? Personally, I think life as a foundation student is a hectic one, because once you enter the foundation program itself, you will be served with many programs, with the foundation program, with the college program. They are grooming you to become a better student that will not, they will students that can get along in a community. Okay, that that is the point of those college programs that they are forcing you to join. Okay, and then about the foundation program itself, back in my time in PASUM, you will have class every day, and I think this applies to almost all foundation. You will have class every day, and for the most of it, it starts at 8 a.m. and finishes at 5 p.m. And for for the lab, you will have lab for biology, chemistry, and physics. Each of lab sessions is 3 hours. So the first 2 hours will be for you to conducting your experiment, and the other 1 hour to finish up your lab report and to send it before you leave. You will need to send you will need to submit your lab report before you leave the lab. That is kind of like, I think, the general rule of laboratory. And then after you finish classes at 5, you will go back to college. And college, usually they have planned this event long before you come. So let's say you come into foundation in June. So when you come in June, they have already planned what is going to be the event for August, September, October, November, December. They have planned this well, so that when you first enter, you can decide whether to join it or not. Here I want to talk about the merit. Joining an event will help you gain merit, and merit is um, something that is kind of important, because you will have this record on your, if I'm not mistaken, when you graduate, you will have merit points, whether you are active or not back in college. Uh, in foundation, you will not have to worry about securing college for next semester or not, because for the whole year of the foundation, this 1 year, um, you will have a secure place in the college, so you do not have to fight for it. But after you get into degree life, you will have to compete for places in college. So if you don't join an event at all, if you just sit in your room doing your own things, you will have a hard time, because um, everyone wants to live in the college because of different factors. Lower fees to be compared to living outside, and then the places to eat is near, and everything else. So living in college is preferable compared to living outside. Okay, I think we can move on to next question. Okay, regarding Muet, in Pasum, they will do everything for you. They will register it for you. You do not have to find a place outside in order to sit for this Muet exam. My friend's experiences, my friend's experience, he was in UITM Foundation. He needed to register for his own MUET. So that means that if he registered it late, he will have to answer it outside the UITM faculty itself. Because UITM, if I'm not mistaken, they don't handle this for the students. The students have to do it yourself. So you have to choose where to sit for the exam, when will you sit for the exam, and all that. They do not, they don't settle it for you. You will have to settle it yourself. Unlike Pasum, the speaking, the reading, and the writing test all will be held in the Pasum building itself, and will be supported by the lecturers in order to accommodate all of our students. No one will be left behind. But I'm not sure if the UiTM have changed their system. But 2 years ago, that was the case. My friend, one of my friends, he had to go. He had to exam. I think in Shah Alam or what, quite a distance from Dengkir. So this based on my experiences. So if the system has now changed, so I'm sorry. Okay, and then okay, how much is the tuition fees for a foundation student? Okay, for fees, I think it's quite uh is common to know that University of Malaya fees is quite higher compared to other universities. Back in my time, the combined fees for college and tuition is around 1,200. Yeah, and yeah, again, if I'm not mistaken, they are about 900 or something. But apart from that, all expenses for the revision books, food, and everything else are almost the same, because I think the food and the books are all provided. Um, in their compound. So that means that you do not have to go far away in order to get food. And then I want to talk about um, yes, about allowance. When you enter foundation, you will have an allowance of 2,500 ringgit per semester. So that means for one semester you will get 1,250 ringgit per sem. So, it is being paid one off. That means you will get 1,250 in a lump sum amount. So that 1,250, you will have it at the beginning of the sem, and you will need to spend carefully, because if you spend it until it's gone, then you will have to wait until another semester starts again before you can get another 1,250. Okay. And this allowance for everyone, every foundation student. Okay. And then for revision books, mostly lecturers will have the initiative of selling the revision books to their students at lower prices. It is to make things easier for their students. Okay, and then about a foundation student gets scholarships. The answer is yes, you can get the foundation student, and you can get a scholarship, but it depends heavily on your SPM result. The most SPM results that I've applied back when after I received my results, they ask for 8 A's, which means that you will need to score a combination of A plus and A solids of 8. That is for the top tier one, like the Petronas, the JPA, the Khazanah. And back in my time also, most of the students who get scholarships are the ones who score straight A plus, and they receive scholarships from JPA. And the amount that they get is quite much. It's quite high. I don't remember how many, but it's a lot. And then you also have another type of scholarships for the state scholarships, for like, for example, Yayasan Perak and Yayasan Negeri. They receive application for foundation student. Okay, I think that's all my session. Okay, thank you for listening, and for answer, just type it out in the chat section, and we will be answering it later. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Naif. We shall begin with the next speaker, who will be sharing her life in matriculation. Aliaa, are you ready?
Hold on. Let me just try to present my screen. Hold on. Okay, cool. Let me have it pinned. Okay, cool. All right. So I hope that the foundation journey that I shared was insightful. So I had the opportunity to pursue in matriculation. So I'll be exploring a little bit of what I experienced, and based on what I know that has been changes. Right. So first of all, my name is Aliaa Ramzani. I'm a third year student of doing computer science. Right. Okay. So a little bit about me. I'm actually a public university. I'm actually a public school student, just like a normal daily school, and I pursued in both science and art. So I took 10 subjects. I didn't score very well because I was ill at some point, maybe, and I practically bailed on my studies for about 3 months to recover. I was infected with the dengue fever, and with that result, I was able to determine. I was able to select Selangor Matriculation College as my first option, And then after my admission, I proceeded with University of Malaya. Okay, so my content is, I would say, quite concise. First of all, we'll talk about why matriculation and the types of matriculation programs and the 4 streams available in the Malaysian matriculation and the subjects available, as well as the grade, how we are graded and what else we can expect. Yes, I will also cover on the costs. Don't worry about that. Okay, and tips and things I wish I knew when I was pursuing it. Okay, and the last of all, we'll talk about the cost. Wait. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm having a dual screen, so there's some issues there. Never mind. Okay, right. So first of all, why matriculation? Right. So personally, both of my sisters are pursuing IGCSE, and that IGCSE was quite costing them some money. So I had to take the sacrifice of choosing an affordable education path, which is matriculation. So matriculation is very affordable, and in fact, you don't even need a scholarship for that. This depends on if which matriculation program you're in. There's AusMat, which is Australian matriculation, and there's Malaysian matriculation. So the one that I'm talking about, the affordable, is practically the Malaysian matriculation. Right, so we'll talk about the cost in just a moment, but overall, this is my general reason of choosing matriculation. First of all, it's affordable, because my family was sort of cramping up for both of my sisters pursuing IGCSE, and hence I had to decide with the Malaysian matriculation. Second reason was I was unsure what to pursue, and so I decided to go with whatever that life has thrown at me, which was one of the choices available was I was offered diploma for computer engineering, and second is matriculation, Selangor matriculation. So with these 2 options, being unsure of what to pursue kind of neglects me from pursuing the diploma. So I was trying to sort of delay my decision. So this is one of the ways that I decided to keep my options open. And the third reason was to get a fast track degree. All right. So although I was unsure with my with what I want to do for my degree, I kind of just needed sort of like a year time, like a period to sort of think things over. But I also want a fast track to the degree itself. And the thing that is practically unrecognized for matriculation is that it's actually, unrecognized among Malaysians, is that our matriculation program, which is Malaysian matriculation, is actually recognized globally. After my graduation of matriculation, I was offered to several universities in Australia itself, meaning that I didn't even need to pursue an Australian matriculation to get that offer. So this depends on which university you're trying to pursue. But I can generally say that there are universities globally that accepts Malaysian matriculation programs. Okay, so like I mentioned, there's 2 types of matriculation programs. First one is Australian matriculation program, and the second one is Malaysian. So there's quite some difference, but overall it should be the same. So there's actually 2 types of Australian. There's AusMat, if I could write that properly. Oh, okay, never mind. So the first one is AusMat, and the second one is SAM, South Australian Matriculation. So this depends on what you want to, on how you want to pursue it. So AusMat is 50-50, if I'm not mistaken, meaning 50-50 on your courses and 50% on your exams. Whereas SAM is similar to the Malaysian matriculation, is 70% courses and 30% exam. So Malaysian matriculation is actually more or less similar to the SAM part, South Australian matriculation. Okay, so the Australian matriculation program only offers you 1 year period, which is about 10 to 12 months. As for Malaysian matriculation, there's 2 types, but this depends on which program you're trying to pursue. But generally, it actually offers 1. But if you're in science and you're a Bumiputra, you can go for the 2 years program. Okay, so the Malaysian matriculation is not as flexible as the Australian one. The Australian one, you can actually choose like five minimum subjects and sort of mix and match whichever you want to go for. But for the Malaysian matriculation, it's kind of fixed, so you have to go with whatever you have. So the first one is science. So this one is only open for science stream student. And second one is accounting. This is for science, accounting, and art students. So if you're either one of these streams, I think you can just apply straight away. And the fourth one is similar to the accounting, but this is for the ACCA program. This is only for Bumi Putra. Oh, sorry, my bad. Oh yeah, okay, sorry, my bad. That was correct. Yikes. Never mind. All right, so this one is only for Bumi Putra. You can apply if you're a science student, accounting, or even art student. So it's similar to accounting, but this one is only for Bumi Putra, and I'll explain to you in just a moment why. And the fourth one, the final one, is a technical, or another word for this who went to the technical secondary schools, which is like which is probably known as Sekolah Teknik something something, more or less like that. Okay, and okay, I'm going through in the science streams, which is this part. Okay, so in the science stream, there's 3 modules. Like I mentioned, it's the subjects, it's not really flexible like the one with the Australian, but what's important is that you should able to get maths and chemistry. That's the most important part. And you can see the difference between model 1, 2, 3. Every single one of you guys will have to pursue in maths and chemistry. You can't run away from it. For model 1, I would say this is pure science. Okay, wait, pure science. Right, so you would have to take chemistry, maths, physics, and biology. As for model 2, this is more towards the engineering part. Or maybe if you want to pursue somewhere in between physics or something to do with chemistry, or maybe mechanical engineering, or maybe radiologics or anything like that. So you can pursue with model 2. As for model 3, this is either biotech courses, or even if you want to proceed in computer science like myself, you can straight away go with model 2 or model 3. Or if you just want to escape from physics, that's actually like one of the common things that people would go for. And there's a popular demand for those who are in medic as well. So you can also have medic. You can also apply for medicine, and if you are pursuing model 3, right? So this is generally how the science stream works. There's 3 parts in there. I'm pretty sure that all the Malaysian matriculation offers the same courses, meaning in the science. All of these are available in all the matriculation. As for the accounting, not every Malaysian matriculation offers this, and not every Malaysian matriculation offers this. So you just have to check which matriculation offers what. Okay, for the accounting, you would be doing a lot of mathematics, a lot of business studies, microeconomics, and I can't really explain to you what's the difference between these two because I did not take it. All right. Likewise with the ACCA, this one, like I mentioned, is actually for Bumi Putra only because you can only apply your degree in UITM. So that's the main reason. If you do not want to proceed in UITM, you can straight away apply as normal accounting. Or if you want to have if you don't mind going to UITM, then it should be okay then. Right, so the difference between accounting and ACCA is practically you have the certificate right away when you graduate. Okay, so the fourth stream, which is the technical, you'll be pursuing maths, chemistry, similar to the science stream, like what I mentioned earlier, physics and basic engineering. So you will not be learning anything about computer science. You will straight away dive into basic engineering. Okay, proceeding with the following subjects. Right. So with all whatever subjects that we mentioned earlier, you would have to include these the following subjects. So the first one's going to be English. The second one's going to be MUET preparation class. This depends if your matriculation has it or not. Usually they would just combine these two, and they would, depending again on your matriculation, some of you guys will have to go on a mock exam. So meaning that you will have some sort of preparation exam before the MUET itself, so that way you can improve yourself better. And the third subject is called general studies. General studies is practically on how you can behave yourself in interviews, or even how you can dress up for the interview itself, or even how to make a proper handshake and etc. So this is just like general studies. These three are not exams, but I'll explain to you in just a moment. So don't worry if you kind of panicking how general studies will be graded. Likewise with moral education, this also includes Islamic studies. So I'm just gonna jot down Islamic. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. So the fourth one is moral education or Islamic studies. Again, this is not going to be an exam, it's just a course for you to take, and it's compulsory. And the fifth one is curricular activities. So you will be doing either sports, clubs, or in uniform units. This depends on your, again, matriculation availability. If they don't have certain sports, then you can't really force it. So sports such as tennis, badminton, squash, I don't know what else. And clubs, I think you have like cooking club or something like that. Generally, it's like that. Uniform units such as the Red Crescent, the cadets, and I'm not sure what else is available, but you can look it up into your own matriculation, or maybe you can try and ask someone who has been into that specific matriculation if you have a specific target. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how will I be graded? Okay, so the requirements for you to pass and graduate is CGPA 2.0, meaning that you only need all C's minimum. Okay, so for the core subjects, like I mentioned in this part here, and here, that is called your core subjects. So your classroom assignments or projects will be 10% to 20%. This depends on your tutorials, your group projects, or maybe even quizzes, something like that. This depends on how your lecturer wants to assign the gradings. All right. As for the mid-sem, it depends. Sometimes it would be 10%, sometimes it would be 15%, sometimes it would be 20%. So remember to jot down what in the briefing before you proceed with the class, meaning that you'll be briefed in the first or two class, and then from there you would able to plan out how you want to score your matriculation program practically. And the final exam is usually 70 to 80%, but I would say usually it's 70. This also depends on the subject's grading allocations. And for the compulsory, oh Lord, okay, this should be 100%. My God, never mind. Okay, for the compulsory subjects, it would be based on 100% classroom assignments, which is again projects, attendance, tutorials, or anything like that. This depends on, again, how your lecturers would want to grade it. And for the third part is English language. So I mentioned there's English language and there's MUET. So some of you guys may have both classes combined. So this is where you will be graded, which is 40%. Sometimes they also mix and match on how, let's say the MUET, they would say that's a mid-sem exam as well, more or less. This depends on, again, the matriculation. So this is about 10. This is 10%, and for the final exam, it's going to be 50% for English. All right. So you're probably wondering, what does the CGPA? What is the GPA? And this may be your first time calculating your CGPA or GPA anyway. So this is how you do it. So first of all, GPA is grade point average. It is calculated by semester. Okay, so how do you calculate it? Okay, for example, let's say that your maths, oh wow, okay, I tried. Okay, your maths is 5 credits hours, meaning that whatever you score, the maximum credit hours, you can multiply it by 5. So this is, let's say, your maths. And if you're wondering how you can get the 4.0 or 3.0, this depends on your grading. So C is 2.0, C plus is 2.3, wait, B minus is 2.67, and sorry, B is 3, and it just goes on until A or A plus, sorry, A and A plus is the same, which is 4 point. Okay, so you would have to calculate it like that. This is how you calculate your grades, and multiply it with the credit hours, which is, let's say, 5. Let's say you scored A for maths, and then let's say chemistry, you scored maybe B, and then let's say biology or physics, whichever, you scored an A. So you would have to multiply it with each other. So you can see 5 times 4, 20, 3 times 2, 6 times 3, and 6 times 4. Then you and then you would have to sum them up together, get the value, okay, and then calculate based on the, what's it called, credit hours. So this was maths, this was, what was it, physics, or this is chemistry or something like that. So you have to sum it up at the bottom here, and then you will get this calculation, this grade point here, and then you would have to you would have to round it up to this second decimal point. Yep. So 3.67, 3.65. So this is your let's say this is your GPA for the first semester. So your first semester, your GPA will be equals to your CGPA. First semester, GPA is equals to CGPA. Sorry, my handwriting's really bad. I tried. Okay. And okay, for the CGPA is cumulative grade point average. This is your overall. So I mentioned that your first semester is going to be the same, GPA is equal to CGPA, because that's the only semester that you have. Okay, let's say that you have your first semester and your second semester GPA together. You would have to add them and then divide by the number of the number of GPA you have, right? So let's say this is your first CGPA, and this is your first GPA, and this is your second GPA. You divide it by 2, so because n is equal to 2, and then you would get 3.6, right? Okay, so I mentioned that matriculation is the most affordable pre-university track, right? So what I meant by that is you only pay 600 ringgit for 1 year program, and also 600 ringgit for 2 years program. Okay, again, this is for those Bumiputras and science only. If you are non-Bumiputra, you would only be able to do 1 year. If you don't manage to get the 2.0 CGPA or GPA, you will get kicked out. Yeah, so you have to be careful with your gradings. Again, it's better for you to sort of plan out how you want to score. As for those who are pursuing in Sarawak Matriculation College, will be 620 ringgit. And for those who are doing accounting, you are only available to do your matriculation for 1 year, and it's going to be 550. Likewise, with the ACCA, you only are able to do in 1 year, but the cost is going to be more expensive. It's 1,150 for the first semester. And again, you have to pay for the second semester for 1,690. For the technical degree, you are only available to do for 1 year. Regardless if you're Bumiputra or not, you're going to have to pay 620. Right, so, and along the lines to that, you actually get monthly allowance or semester allowance. This depends on, I'm not sure the current one, how the current one works, but when I was doing my matriculation, which was about 3 years ago, I had a monthly allowance of about 80 to 100 ringgit, more or less like that, every month that they will actually deposit inside our student bank account. So that way we were able to survive. And okay, to be frank with you, you are paying 600 ringgit for the registration. You're not paying anything else. And then you get allowances. So that was kind of like a bonus. You get to practically study for free. Right. And okay, what to expect when you're doing matriculation. Expect a lot of people who doesn't want to be there is there. So one of the reasons that I mentioned that how do I say this? Matriculation is not, how do I say this? Matriculation, well, I can safely say that nobody really, sorry, not many people want to be there, but is there, but because they don't know where else to go. And from this first point, expect a lot of peer pressure that people would want. So they're not really, how do I say this? They're not really trying to drag you down, but they will try, they will express their negativity of their saying that they don't want to be there, they want to be somewhere else, but they didn't get the path that they want. And that would somehow demotivate you. Don't let that get to you. That's just my only advice. And I personally had someone I know who was halfway through matriculation. We were in our second semester of our 1-year program. And we were in the middle of mid-semester break. She literally quit matriculation because she got herself an offer, a diploma offer to another university. So to me, that was kind of a waste because you took someone else's opportunity. So think before you accept or decline offer. Like you could literally have someone else be in your place. I can mention that I was a daily school student, and being there was actually kind of weird because I've seen a lot of students who were in the same school and I was the only one. So they were kind of like clicking up together. They didn't want to hang out with everyone. They were just like within themselves, which I think is bad. But then again, it's up to you. It's up to you on how you want to do your thing, I guess. Okay. And the third point is a tight study schedule. So you'll be doing your programs from 8 to 5 with a 1-hour break. So I'm not sure of other matriculation, but this is what I went to. And based on my own knowledge that by my own matriculation, that they extended the break to 1.5 hours. So I believe that they ended at 5:30, more or less like that. Okay, so the fourth point of what to expect is that you will be clueless at some point in your life. And that's okay, because you can actually just take a break, or maybe even ask someone to help you out, or maybe someone, it could be your family, your friends, or even your lecturers. Yeah, be nice to your lecturers. They'll be really helpful. If you are able to connect with your lecturers, that's actually a really plus point, because if you express your, let's say, you're stressed, like you are stressed out or you can't manage this, they will actually try their best to help you no matter what. Okay, and if take your time to find your own study method, because when you have a tight schedule, it's not very easy to tell you when to. Okay, first of all, try to be flexible with who you're friends with. Like I mentioned, don't be too clicked up with each other, despite you being from the same school or same group of friends that you were in high school with or anything like that, because you're gonna need other people's help. And if you don't sort of reach out to others, you're limited to that part of your life. And the best part about going out from high school is actually doing just that, just going out from your bubble. Right. For the second point is that I encourage you to lay out your whole semester's agenda. So when you come into matriculation, you'll be given a whole agenda of how your program would look like. I don't remember what's it called, but they have a term for that. So be careful in planning out your schedule. What I mean is, by the time you get that yearly schedule, you would have to sort of identify which one is week 1, which one is week 2, which one is week 3, week 4, week 5, etc., until week 14, including, like, don't forget the mid-semester break. You'll have a mid-semester break too. And by the time you plan out, you'll be able to understand when each topics of each subjects is going to take place. So again, you'll be briefed by your lecturer of how the topics will be conducted, meaning that, let's say, week 1 will be starting about chapter 1, week 2 and week 3 maybe chapter 2 or something like that. So that way you'll be able to sort of understand how the whole system works by the first week or 2. So that way you wouldn't be confused later on. The third tip is experiment with your study methods. What I mean by experiment is try a whole bunch of stuff. Just try. Look out on YouTube on how you can study, or maybe even explore it on yourself. Like I found my own rhythm where I have to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. But then I eat breakfast first. I don't straight away study. I'm not that much of a freak. I would eat my breakfast. I would take a shower because everyone would cramp out in the shower at 7. And by then, you'll be probably coming to class a bit late. And, just find your own rhythm. So usually I wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. I eat breakfast. I take a shower before 5 because that's when people are starting to crowd. And then I try to study if I can, or maybe finish up the tutorial, or maybe even the lab reports or anything like that. And by 8 o'clock, I'll be straight away go out to my class, right? So tip number 4 is study before and after each lecture. So what I mean by before is just, okay, don't study entirely about the subject. Just sort of skim the whole, like maybe print out the lecture note maybe a day before that and just sort of skim through. The reason with this is because it will give you some sort of idea of what the lecture is going to be about. So that way you wouldn't be 100% clueless. So you would come out, you would come into the lecture with a half glass empty or half glass full. By the time you finish the lecture, it should be maybe even full, maybe more or less. And what I mean by after the lecture is through questions and tutorials. Oh God, okay, never mind. Okay, and tutorials. Oh wow, okay. Right, okay. Tips number 5, understand that when you need to and when you don't need to go for study groups. So one of the mistakes that I did in my first semester was I did not at all go for study groups. I did not rely on anyone really. I just studied on myself. I prefer that way. And the method of me learning is by teaching others. So I don't see the need of study groups. But when I was pursuing my matriculation in my second semester, I found that study groups are very useful if you want to debate or discuss, meaning that you have to study first, and then come up with a diagram or anything like that. Make sure that you have a friend or maybe someone you can just like talk to, or maybe if you don't have a friend, you can just talk to maybe a chair or even, I don't know, go figure. But that's just like something that you have to get in mind, that study groups are important because it allows you to have some sort of discussions, and even have questions. So be sure that you find a student or students that are on the same level as you, meaning that your understanding and your pace, your frequency is the same. You can go at the same pace, more or less like that. If you go for someone that's a bit too fast than you, then you're going to be demotivated. If you're going for someone who's a bit slower than you, that's going to be a problem because that person's going to be demotivated, and that's going to slow you down. So find someone who's at your own pace, who you can study with. It doesn't matter if you actually don't like them or like anything like that. You just find someone that is able to pick up your pace, right? For point number 6 is that you have to ask for help. You have to be humble enough to ask for help. So one of the mistakes I did was I was kind of in, I don't know, like I mentioned earlier, that I didn't rely on anyone. I was relying on myself to teach others. But when I was unable to teach others because I could not understand a certain subject, that's when I realized I really need to ask for help. And when I did ask for help, turns out my lecturer was very keen on teaching, and she was trying her best to make me understand. And by the time I did understand, I was able to teach others and even understand better. So remember to ask for help either from friends or family or even your lecturers. Again, plus points if you have strong connection with your lecturers, because they can really help you. Point number 7 is teach a friend or friends. So the point of matriculation is for you to sort of share your knowledge with one another. Excuse me. Share your knowledge with one another. And the reason why I say share is because not many not many people that I know are willing to share. They feel like they need to have everything for themselves, and I felt that before, and I don't blame them. And I began to understand too why we do need to share, because if you do share, you don't get less knowledge, but instead you get more knowledge by them asking what you already know. So that way you would question, how much do I know? Okay, so thank you. That, I guess that's all from my part. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat. So you can contact me on my email, or if you're keen on doing Instagram too, that's fine, because I believe some of you guys are doing just that. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aliaa. I hope that the participants now have a better understanding after hearing Aliaa out about how life in matriculation works. And for now, we'll be taking a 5-minute break. But in the meanwhile, you guys can keep sending in your questions, and we'll be answering them during the Q&A session. So right now, it's almost 3 p.m. We'll be back at 3:05. So yeah, see you guys. Okay, guys, we're back and we'll be continuing with our next speaker. Farah Syafizah will be sharing her life in A-level. Farah, are you ready?
Hi everyone. Okay, so wait on. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Nufara Syafizah binti Musa, and I'm currently a second year economics student in UM. So basically, a bit introduction about myself. That was me and my parents 2 years ago when I finished my A levels, and also I was actually from an SBP, a science school, which is SM Science Umbong. So and I choose my A level after my SPM, and wanna know why? Let's continue. Okay. So I'm going to share to you guys about the life in A levels. Okay. So firstly, what actually A level is? Okay, I'll make it simple for you to understand. So basically, A level is actually a UK based system, education system, and it actually a pre-university program that prepares you to study abroad. So if any of you are looking forward to pursue a study in UK, US, Korea, Turkey, and any other countries, you can choose A level as your option. But you also can pursue your study in local, hence why I'm here in UM. Okay. So next, it is actually 100% exam based, which means it is somehow same like SPM where you have everything is your result is depends on your final exam. It just the same with A level, everything will be depends on your final exam. Okay, and then next, the duration for this course will be 15 to 24 months. It because it have two two dur- two duration, which is the fast track one 1.5 years, or also the 2 years duration, 2 years period. So this one you can choose whether you want to do the fast track one or the other one. Like me, I choose the 2 years program because I'm not that like that lah. Okay. So next, it also offers science and social science subject. So what are the subject? I will explain later. And lastly, A level consists of two level, which is why it is A level, because firstly it is AS level, which is during your first year of your program, and the second one is the A2 level or advanced level for your program. Okay, so next. Okay, so if you are still not clear about the pathway, if you take A level, here is the pathway. So now some of you already finished your SPM or took IGCSE. So now you are still, maybe some of you already got your UPU result, but you still have the option to choose whether you want to take A level or not, right? So okay, after SPM, the next journey will be your A level. So this is the program that I took after my SPM, and then my next journey will be, and then the next journey after A level will be your degree. So your degree, you can choose whether you want to pursue in local university or overseas, depends on your result. And then lastly, you can continue with your career, or you can also choose to further your study in master, both in local or overseas. And then next, okay, what are the subjects that are offered in A level? So basically, they divide the subjects into two course, which is the sciences stream and also the social science. So what are the sciences stream is those who are related to medicine, dentistry, engineering, pharmacy, and other related field. Okay, and the subject that you have to take for A level, you have to take minimum 3 subject and maximum 4 subject for A level. Okay, just like your SPM, you have to take around 9 to 10 subject. Maybe some people have to take more than 10 subject, but for A level, you just have to take 3 to 4 subject. Okay, so these are the subjects that are available for you. So let's say I'll take it as an example. If you are going to pursue for medicine, medic, you can choose either subject that I list down here, but I will suggest that, oh my god, why? Yeah. But I will suggest that you take biology, chemistry, and also mathematics, because in A level mathematics subject is compulsory for you to take. Okay. So for the social science, like me, I took the social science. I was majoring in economics in my A level. So uh, the subject that I took was accounting, economics, and also mathematics. But here I want to emphasize that even though you only have to take 3 to 4 subjects during A level, the subject will be learned in depth. So I will show you the textbook for A level. Okay, for example, this is my textbook during A level. This one is for the economics one. You see, actually it is not that thick. The textbook is not that thick. However, even do so, uh, you always have to do your additional studies, because when you have your exam later, the question that will be asked will be more to analyzing your diagram, analyzing your topic and all. So if you are someone who loves to learn something in detail, then take A level. Okay. So okay, and then like if you are if you are interested in doing accounting business, the subject that I will suggest to you will be accounting, economics, and mathematics. But if you want to go for law, you can ditch math. You also can ditch math. Okay, but at the end of the day, it will be depends on you. Okay, so and then next, okay, how are the assessment will be done in A level? Okay, so like I said, it is 100% exam based. So they will divide your marks into 2. So if like me, I take A level for 2 years. So after I finish my first year, I will have to take AS exam, and the marks, they will take my marks for AS, and then the next year, after I finish the second year, I have to take the A2 exam, and they will combine the marks for my final result. You guys understand? If you are not clear, you can ask me later. Okay. And for A level, it is different from other pre-university program, because this is like the UK based one. So we are not taking MUET. So we take IELTS. Like me, I took IELTS. IELTS is International English Language Testing System. So because I took IELTS in my A level, later when I have later during my degree, uh, when I got into UM actually tell me that I have to do MUET in 1 year period after I registered as a UM student. So you guys clear? So if any of you who just finish SPM and then you take IELTS, it's okay. You still can go. You still can do. You still can pursue your degree in local university. However, you have to take MUET. Okay, and the MUET have to uh, you have to take it privately, not by not sponsored by or anything. Everything is on you. So you will be registered as an open applicant for MUET. Okay. But for IELTS in my A level, everything was managed by my college. So I just proceed with English subject. during my semester, and then I took IELTS after I finished my first year. Okay, so the grading system for the grading system for A level, we are doing points in for our result. So let's say if you take A star, you got 5 points, A 5 points, and blah and so on. So like for A level, if you want to fly, you have to make sure you got minimum 14 over 15 points. So let's say if you take 4 subjects during A level, they will take the highest 3 subjects for your result. So let's say if you got A star A B, then they will take the A star A. You understand? So some students in A level, they took 4 subjects because they are afraid that they cannot score the other subjects. But for me, I took previously on my first year, I took 4 subjects, including psychology. But then I dropped psychology because I think that it was too much for me. So I dropped psychology and I focused on accounting, mathematics, and also economics. And guys, I would say that I love economics, even though I was from a science stream student. But once I learned economics, I love it so much. Hence, that's why I'm here in UM doing economics. Okay. Okay, next. Oh, what about the schedule in A level? So basically, it is highly depends on your school or college that you want, and also your subject. So if let's say you take 3 subjects, then your schedule will not be that packed like uh, the students who took 4 subjects. Okay, so now I will just give some example of the college that I attend, and also some of my friends already did their A level there. So you see, in Intech Education College, if you go for Intech, your class will be from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So basically, because I did my A level in Intech, I really love the environment there. Actually, the environment is school. It's like school, but I love how the schedule. So let's say even though I have class from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I can choose to go back to my hostel earlier if I don't have any class or my class cancelled. But it differs with Epsom and KYUM. KYUM is College Yayasan UM because they have their schedule is like school. So doesn't matter if they have class or they don't have class, they still have to wait until 4 p.m. and then they can go back to their hostel. But like me, in Intech, I can actually go back. Let's say I took 3 subjects. So let's say during Monday, my subject I only have accounting and economics. So my class will be at 8 to 10 a.m. and also 10 to 12 p.m. So after 12 p.m. I can already go back to my hostel because I no longer have classes. Okay, so that is why I love Intech because of this. And then uh, if you see the College Mara Seremban, the schedule is also like Intech, but usually those who are under Mara will do their Mara will send their scholars to College Mara Seremban. Okay, so for usually our class will be on weekdays. So during the weekend, you are free to go anywhere. Again, it is depends on your school and college. Like in Tech, we have no rules to go in or outside the college, but we have curfew. Curfew is the time limit for you to go back to your hostel. So like in Intech, my curfew was at 12 a.m. So you have to go back. If you want to go out, you can, but you have to go. You have to go back before 12 a.m. or else the guard will take your name. Your name. Okay. So like me, I, I actually during the weekend when I have my free time, I will go out with my friends to because Intake was in Shalam, so I can go to Sunway Pyramid and all these my friends. So because A levels was a bit stressed, sangat. So I need to do something to make sure I ease my mind. Okay. So next. Okay. So how about the fees and also the scholarship? So for A level, you guys have to know that because this is UK education system. So everything, your book, everything is imported from outside. So the fees are much expensive from other pre-university program. So like this is the only fees. This is only the average fees that I can put here. So you have your option whether you want to do your A level with your sponsors or you want to do your A level by using your parents' money sponsored by mama papa. Okay. So I would say that the average fees, this is the minimum fees. Okay, I emphasize minimum fees. Minimum fees will be 12K, including tuition and accommodation fees. So, but during my time in Intech, my fees was 40K, around 40K for the whole 2 years. But I have other friends who are sponsored by their parents, and they still can do A level. So it doesn't matter. For me, if you have the financial to go for A level, then it's good for you. Just go for A level, okay? And then, okay, here are the top sponsors that actually send their scholars to this college. So like BNM, they will send their scholars to Epsom College or College Tuanku Jaafar and also Taylor's College. So it will be depend on your sponsors because usually the sponsor that I list down, like BNM, Petronas, YK, Mara, and JPA, they have overseas scholars. So they will make sure that their scholars take A level before they can fly. So usually, like I said, the requirement for you to fly will be 14 over 15 points, which means you have to get AAB minimum. Minimum you have to get AAB. If not, because AAB 5 points plus 5 points, 10 points, 10 points plus 4 points, 14 points. If not, you cannot go. Like seriously guys, seriously. This is for the sponsored students, okay? But for those who are sponsored by your parents, it's okay. You still can go for if you don't get the didn't get to didn't get the 14 points requirement, you still can go, but it will be highly depends on the university because during A level, on the second year of A level, you will need to go to apply for UCAS. UCAS is basically a UK application university system, just like UPU, but it is called UCAS. So in UCAS, you have to apply for 5 university that you want. So the university will choose whether they want to accept you or not, depends on your AS result. So if you got conditional offer and the university accept your result, then yes, you can go. This one for those who are under parents sponsored by parents. But for the sponsors one, if you don't get to achieve that requirement, you may need to pay back your sponsors or and further your studies in local universities. Okay, so where to apply scholarship? There are other scholarships that are available for SPM leavers. So how you want to know about the scholarship? Please make sure you always go for this website afterschool.my, and they will always update about the scholarships available. Okay, but for this scholarship, I will say that if you don't have the chance to get, if you didn't manage to get scholarship during your pre-university or after SPM, it's okay because my friends in UM, uh, there will be scholarships available for you to apply during your degree. Okay, so let's say macam, okay, let's say if you go for your degree and then you score more than 3.5 CGPA, then you can apply for other scholarships. And usually my friends in UM, they apply scholarship after their first semester in UM for degree. So it's okay if you don't get any scholarship, you still have the chance to apply them in your degree letter. Okay, if you want to ask more about scholarship, you can ask me in the Q&A. Okay. Next, okay, so if you are interested to do A-level, here are the college that are available. You can go for Intech, KYUM, College Mara Seremban, Taylor's, Epsom, KTJ. So there will be two intake in January and September if you want to take the fast track program, or you can choose to you can go for the May and July intake, and your A-level will be in 2 years period. Okay, but my suggestion, take the 2 years one because it is lesser burden for you. Okay, so how to apply? Just simply go to their website, and even if you actually search for, you just type A levels in Malaysia, there will be a list of college available for you to apply. So again, if you, the fees will depend. So usually the tailors fees will be higher. Epsom also will be higher. It may reach until 90K something. Okay, like for Epsom can reach until 90K and on. Okay, so okay, so should you take A level? Ask yourself, should I take A level? So I want to say that before you go for and choose to take your A level, you have to expect that firstly, you will experience stress in exam because it is just like SPM. Before the exam, you have to prepare, really prepare, because everything, your result will be depends on your final exam. And then next, uh, there will be a big gamble during the final sem because we can only get offers from university during our final sem. So let's say if you don't get any offer from the university, then you have to prepare to pursue your study in local university in Malaysia. Okay, so and then, but uh, I would say that I love the environment in A level because the people there is so nice. Like we really have an open-minded environment, so it will be easier for you to adapt. Everyone is like your family. There is no clique, there is no group. You can easily uh, mingle around with each other. Okay, and I love my environment there. And then I would say that because I took A level, because everything is learned in depth, it is easier for me doing my degree because I am used to learn something in depth. So when I go for to do my economics, I feel that it is a bit easier. This is and it's different from my other friends that doesn't have a really strong uh, foundation for their subject. So it is harder for them. But for me, I would say that okay. I mean, like it's I have less burden to understand the subject in because of my A-level course. Okay, and then you should take A-level if you are someone who doesn't like presentation and group work because there will be no continuous assessment. So everything will be graded on your exam. So, and also you should take A level. Of course, if you want to go for overseas, you want to go for abroad. And then next, you should take A level if you have your sponsors and you love you want to explore the experience outside of Malaysia. Okay, so do you take A level? It all depends on you. You decide. Okay. So okay, before I finish my session on A level, I will say that doesn't matter any pre-university program that you go after this. It doesn't matter. There is no pre-university program that is more harder than any uh, and then the others. No, there's no such thing as that. Every pre-university program has their pros and cons. So it will be depends on yourself because like me during SPM I only got I didn't get straight A for my SPM, and then I didn't get to apply many scholarships because I didn't get straight A. But I I just proceed because for me, just try to apply anything until one day I saw Jacob's article. Jacob is Johor Corporation Scholarship Program, and I applied, and Alhamdulillah, I got Jacob. So if those who still doesn't know, I am currently doing my degree under Johor Corporation, and I will be bonded with them for 5 years after I finish my degree. Okay, so what I want to say is that if you think that if your SPM result is not that, it's not like what you expected, it's okay. Your journey doesn't stop in SPM result. It depends on you. Like me, I trust myself. I believe in myself that before I do A level, people say to me that A level is tough, A level is hard. But I managed to prove to them that actually I can do A level, and Alhamdulillah, I survived my A level with 12 points, and I got Chief Executive Award because I scored for 3 consecutive semesters. So I don't care about what people say about A level. And then even though I got 12 points, actually I didn't get to fly because during my final semester, Jacob actually say say to me that I cannot fly due to due to I'm a local sponsor student. So that is why I applied for UPU, and Alhamdulillah I got into UM, and now in UM I got 3.76 GPAs two dean lists with two dean lists. So Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful. So just always be grateful with yourself and always believe with yourself. Okay, so with that, uh, good luck for your future, and I hope, please pray for our team that we are able to achieve our career. And I'll also thank you everyone for joining our sharing session. Okay, so if you want to know further about A level, you can just get my IG at Farah Syafizah, or you can just DM me in WhatsApp. Okay, with that, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Farah. We are now done with all of our three speakers. And I hope the speakers were able to clear your doubts and questions. And as for the questions that were asked in the chat section, my friend Shazrin will be reading them out. And from there, all of our speakers will be answering them as well. So pass it to Shazrin.
Okay, hi. Okay, the first question is by Muazzakwan. How do you get a scholarship from Petronas? Do anyone of you want to answer this, or? Okay, so for scholarship from Petronas PESP, the thing is, because it's done online, it's through the Petronas website. So you have to meet the minimum requirement, which is 8A minus at the very least. That was for the last year's requirement, if I'm not mistaken. They may change this year or next year, I'm not sure. But it is you have to apply through their website. If you do not meet the requirement, there is a very high chance of you getting rejected, because I was told that they're very strict with the requirements. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the only requirement that they're very strict on. The other stuff is only the thing that you have to choose, like, oh, what do you want to pursue? If you want to pursue law, this is where they will put you if you get the scholarship. If you want to pursue like engineering, most probably you will pursue your degree at UTP. I think that's all. After the application stage, they'll give you a notification on whether you get the scholarship or not, and then you will proceed to the next stage, which is the interview stage. The interview stage is divided by 2 stages, if I'm not mistaken, but they may change next year, or they might have changed this year. For the first stage is it's a personality test, and the other part of the first stage is also a presentation of yourself, and that's all for the scholarship from Petronas. I hope that answers your question. Okay, from Faris, what if we already have IELTS? Do we need, do we have to do MWET as well? Okay, Farah, can you answer this?
Okay, for your question, yes, because in order for you to graduate your degree, the MWET is a requirement. So if you take IELTS, you still have to go for MWET. But it's okay, the MWET fees will be around 100 something. It is not that expensive like IELTS because IELTS we have to pay around 1,000, right? But for MWET, you only have to pay around 100 something for as an open applicant. So yes, you still have to do MWET in your degree in order for you to graduate. But usually the university will give you a period of time for you to make sure you get your MWET certificates. Okay, I hope I answer your question.
Farah, I think we need to clarify that that one is only applicable for local universities. As for how
Yeah.
about the international university, like overseas, they don't need the IELTS, right?
Oh, okay. So
Sorry, they don't need MUET, right? Sorry,
oh
my
yeah, yeah,
bad.
yeah. Okay, okay. It actually depends. If you go for local universities, then yes, you have to do MWET. Thank you, Aliaa. But if you go for overseas, certain university they need your IELTS certificate, your IELTS result, in order for you to get their offer. So yes, IELTS is needed, and if you take IELTS, the expired date for your IELTS will be around 2 years. So if your certificate already expired, you have to renew your IELTS. You have to renew your IELTS, which means you have to take the new IELTS. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay.
Okay, next is by Fateh Suhaimi. Can you share your experience, including the cost that you have to bear? Oh, wait, he asked again. The reason why he's asking is because he hopes that you can compare the cost for the programs and which one is actually more affordable.
Okay, I think I'll answer that. I actually did a comparison presentation for this. Okay, let me see. All right, let me just pin this in just a moment. All right, cool. Okay, for the comparisons between foundations, matriculations, and A levels. So this is the general cost. Sorry, this is the general comparison between the three different parts. So the first one is foundation. You're looking at least 1,000, more or less. As for matriculation, I only wrote for the local program, which is from 600 to 1,840. This one depends if you're taking the ACCA, where I mentioned the first semester is 1,200 something, and the second semester is 1,600 something. So this is the maximum cost. As for most of the programs offered is, sorry, it's about 550 for accounting, my bad. So 550 for accounting, 600 for science stream, and etc. So you're looking at this range if you're going into matriculation. But again, keep in mind, this one is only for the ACCA program, which is open for Bumi Putra and for those who are keen to go pursue in UITM. As for the A levels, this depends on the which university offering the A levels and which universities you would like to be in. Meaning this depends on, again, if you have sponsors, if you have sponsorships or scholarships, it has to be depending on what choices are available. All right, so second objectives of comparison is allowances or scholarships. So allowances provided for all students for foundation. Students can apply for scholarships. And as for matriculation, allowances are provided for all students. You don't need to apply for anything once you are enrolled. Once, let's say you register for 550, you will get a monthly or a bi-semester allowances. Like when I was pursuing matriculation, I got a monthly, but I believe now they only have semesters deposits for allowances. And as for A levels, this depends on the student's result. If you have good results from your SPM, you can apply for scholarships, and from that way you can actually get the allowances, or more or less. If you don't, then it's going to be your FAMA or father mother. Okay, for the time period, overall, foundation is 1 year program, and matriculation is mostly 1 year. 2 years program is limited to for Bumi Putra science stream students. As for A levels, there's 1.5 years, and there's 2 years. As for the student lifestyle, batch foundation is generally 8 to 5 and matriculation is 8 to 5. But this depends on your location. If your break is longer, then they might stretch it out a little bit or anything like that. For A levels, Farah mentioned that it's 8 until 4. So this again depends on your location. Some universities stretch it out again from 8 to 5 or anything like that. Okay, future opportunities. Students can apply for local and overseas university with foundations, but this again depends on if you have any scholarship bonds, like what similar to A levels, depends on if you have any scholarship bonds. And for matriculation, you are free to apply for any local or overseas universities that is accepting Malaysian matriculation, which I believe are mostly Australian universities, because I got my scholarship based on that, but I had to reject it because the cost was too much still. You have to consider what you want to do there, meaning that, okay, you may have the scholarship, but what about your living expenses? So that's something you have to think about, right? Likewise with A levels, the cost for the overseas universities is another story. Again, this is similar to A levels and foundation. This depends on your which university you are applying for your degree. For the English exam to take, so foundation and matriculation will go for MUET because they are assuming you will go for a local university. So some are sponsored depending on your college or your program. Like UITM, you have to take it on your own. For PASUM, like the one in you will be sponsored. As for matriculation, it will be fully sponsored and fully organized by the Matriculation College. As for A levels, you will be doing IELTS. And if you do apply for local universities, then you have to take your own MUET. So this is general comparison. I will share with you later on, but this is how it is, since one of you guys mentioned that you want a comparison table. So thank you.
I think
Okay,
another cost that can be added is your living expenses. For example, if you accepted into PASUM, which is located in the middle of Kuala Lumpur, you will be tempted to go shopping maybe because it is in the middle of a city. So okay. So it will be easy for you to go from a place to a place, and the expenses outside of the campus is quite high. For example, the food. Okay, let's take food. If you prefer to eat in the college, then it will be it is not a problem because the price range is affordable for students. But if you decide to go for outside food in Mid Valley or whatever, you will be spending I think maybe minimum of 20 ringgit per per one serving. So you'll be expending more than what you should if you are staying in college. So this kind of expenses is the one that you should be taking care of, because one day of expenses outside of the campus can be quite high, and you will be the one who would bear the cost of not having enough money to eat the next day. So choose your plan your is better, and you will not have to not eat enough. Okay, that's it.
okay. So Hazliza Muhammad asked, what other scholarships can you suggest? Do you have any suggestion apart from what you have mentioned?
Wait.
I think
Scholarship
we've mentioned.
just this depends on what program you're trying to pursue, because sometimes I would say most of the time sponsors or scholarships are bonded, meaning that once you have applied and you have been accepted, you are sort of specified into specific career path. Like for example, you take something like engineering, and then if you change your mind halfway, you can't do that because you're bonded to that organization for that period, like for your whole degree and maybe even few years after you graduate your degree. So I cannot suggest any scholarship, mainly because this depends on what kind of career path you're trying to pursue. That's one point. Second is depending on your own thought on how, like, if you are okay with the, what's it called, if you are okay with the conditions that they provide, if that makes sense.
Okay, if I may add, like
Yeah.
for A
Okay.
level, they actually do offer like scholarships by the college itself. Yeah, but you have to bear in mind that is only for your A level, for your pre-U. They do not cover for your degree fees. So that's one of the things I want to add. So anything else?
Yeah. One more. If you already got sponsored, you have your bond. Like Aliaa said, if you already have one sponsor, you have to reject other sponsor. So like me, it depends on your sponsor. Like me, they sponsored me from my A level until I finished my degree, and then I bonded with them. Certain scholarship, they only they will only sponsor you during your pre-university. So during your degree, you have to find another scholarships. And if you don't receive their requirement, you have to pay back the sponsor. So it's like that's why I say it all depends on you. Okay. So other scholarship, like usually the one that I list down in my slides are those the top sponsors. But in degree, later there will be many scholarships available. Let's say contoh you are from Sabah, there will be sponsors. Your negeri Sabah will offer you scholarship juga if you dapat the result that they want. Okay, and also it depends on your career. Like me, the reason why I have to do A level and I ditch my foundation because under Jacob, I take economics course. So they give me option whether I want to do foundation in TESOL without Jacob or I want to take A level with Jacob because I have to do economics. So that's why I take A level because I want Jacob. But if you have scholarship, you have to know that you have your responsibility. So it will be a bit hard for you. Like me, the reason why I keep moving on because of my scholars. One of it lah, because of my sponsor. Because if I tak achieve their requirement, then they won't sponsor me anymore, and I have to pay back. So there are pros and cons as a scholar, as a scholars. Okay.
Okay, the next one by Nihurin Hazana. I believe this is for Aliaa. For the science pathway in matriculation, does the module that you choose affect the courses that you can apply in uni? Aliaa.
Okay, I realize I muted. Hold on. I think I need to go back to the slides and I'll show you. Okay, hold on. I'll share my screen. Just a moment. Okay, cool. Right. So I mentioned there's three models. So the model 1, model 2, model 3. Okay. Like I mentioned, model 1 is pure science, and most people that are in model 1, they don't know what they want. I am saying this because they don't they are rather flexible because, okay, by right you have all mathematics and chemistry, which is kind of like the core subjects of whatever science subjects you can take, like maybe okay, I can't think of anything, but generally model 1 is those for the is for those who don't really know what they're trying to pursue, because again they take both biology and physics. And for those model 2, they are assuming that you are strongly more on the engineering part, mainly because you took physics and computer science, so those two combinations are usually preferred for engineering students. As for model 3, it's a bit flexible because you have computer science and biology. So let's say that you have a specific career path that you want to pursue, let's say maybe nursing or medicine, you can straight away go into model 3 instead of going for model 1, mainly because physics itself is actually another headache. So this is just a technique that you can technique path that you can sort of sloop your way through into medicine. But either way, you will apply it as the same both individuals, meaning that it should not matter. Let's say if you both take biology, it should not matter if you make it, like, how do I say this? If you're applying for the same thing, you should compete equally. That's practically what it is. But generally, you would achieve better if you would proceed with model 3, if you want to go into medicine, for example, because you don't have physics to think about, if that makes sense. As for model 2, likewise, you don't need to think about biology, so you can straight away focus on physics and a little bit of computer science. So that way your reputation as an engineering student will be a little bit stronger, mainly because you have some basic computer science here. And if you were to ask if does it affect your choices in the science streams? Yes, it does, mainly because depending on the subject or the course that you're trying to pursue, sometimes they require, let's say, physics, let's say, but you are taking model 3, so you can't apply for anything related to physics that much, or unless you are willing to suffer or willing to compete with those who has physics. Because again, this is like the core foundations of how the courses are going to be like. Likewise with model 2, if you, let's say you pursue model 2 and suddenly you want to go into something like medicine, it's actually unlikely for you to get accepted. That's why most people who don't know what they want, they go into model 1. But I personally went into model 3 because I was unsure what I want, but then again, I want to avoid physics, mainly because I know it's a headache based on my brother's experience. So I think that's kind of it. Oh yeah, by the way, if you take accounting and take science stream, there's different options for degrees too. For example, one of the things that I came across that I wanted to pursue was what's it called? Like elementary education or something like that. Early childhood education, my bad. Early childhood education, which was offered in UM. But since I'm a Model 3 science student, I was not able to do that, mainly because it's only open for accounting students. I'm not sure why, but this was how UPU was structured at that time, and I was unable to pursue that path. So that's why I went into computer science anyway. And okay, FYI, even though I pursued computer science, it does not affect anything because I don't really need physics knowledge in when I'm applying for computer science. I do need it, but it's more on the SPM knowledge, not much here because it's kind of unrelated. Either way, it should be okay. Right, so I think that's it. I think we can proceed with the next question, or if you guys want to answer.
I think that's all okay. From Akmal. This is for Naif. How will I be graded if I am a foundation student in life sciences at UM?
Okay, for foundation studies in UM, the grading would be divided into three. It will be two. I'm sorry, the two. It is the continuous assessment and the final exam. For the continuous assessment, it will cover like project group, presentation, quiz, and all that. But there will be two mini tests for all subjects. Okay, so for example, this semester I'm a foundation life science student. I will have 8 subjects for test 1. Okay, so all of these subjects will be counted as 20% of continuous assessment that will be carried on until the final grade is. Then after the first test, I will also have the second test, which is about 2 months after the first test. It also carries the same weight of 20%, if I'm not mistaken. And then both of these tests of all subjects weight about 40%. So this 40% will be carried on until the final exam of 60% added on both sides, and you will have 100% of your marks. So test is weighing on 20% each test, and then the final exam is on 60%. I'm sorry. Okay, so in order to be graded with flying colors, you will have to focus on each of them. You cannot just abandon, for example, just abandon this one test one because you thought that it is just 20%. So I do not have to focus on it. I just have to focus on the final exam. No, because test is all four subjects, and all subjects they have different difficulties. They have their own your own way of learning for each subject. So how do you know that by abandoning this test one will help you in any way? It doesn't. So in order to grade excellently, you need to focus on each of this assessment, continuous assessment and the final exam, in order to excel in your foundation life. Okay, that's it.
Okay, next, is it possible to score 4 flat? How hard would it be? I think this is for both matriculation and also foundation. So Aliaa and Naif.
Okay. I think it is possible. It's hard, but it is possible. For example, my when I first entered the foundation, I was put in a room with three other students. Three of them are bright students, and their way of learning is to do revision almost every night. They will study until almost, I think, about 3 or 2 a.m. in the morning, and then wake up in the morning and study again. Yes, it might sound like you will not have social life, but they are also excel. They also have their own social life in their college by joining the college programs and all that. So I think the key point here is to have your own barrier of how to join this program and to not join this program, because just because you join a college program like everyone else, it doesn't mean that the all the people that join the program do not study. They study, but they have their own study timetable. Just so I think the key point here is that you need to have your own schedule of learning, so that way you will not have to bear the burden of not studying in the final exam. Okay. Aliaa.
Hold on. Okay. I think I have something. Okay. Right. Regarding the 4.0, this depends on how you, okay, like what Naif mentioned, how you study and how you manage yourself. You have to find your own rhythm, meaning you have to find your own method. Your method and my method may not be the same. Not everyone's going to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. to just skim through the stuff and do the tutorials. And then, so again, this is more on your self-exploration on how you can study. And it's important to experiment now in your pre-university before you go into your degree, which is your tertiary education, mainly because in your tertiary education is when you're supposed to sort of have a grasp of how you are. So that way you wouldn't struggle so much, and it's actually a lot easier to sort of maintain that pace. Right. So you mentioned about getting a 4.0. I don't think it's impossible. Definitely not. I've seen two different people where one of them doesn't study at all. They play around, skip school. Skip all the class, sleep through all the class, and they still get 4.0 by the end of the semester. There's another type where you're gonna see that studies a lot but doesn't get the grades that they wanted. So study at your own pace and understand your own capabilities as well as your own target. Like I mentioned earlier, I gave you guys, wait, let me just screen share, just a moment. I gave you guys sort of a guide here where the classroom and the assignments is going to be 10 to 20%, wait, 10 to 20%. Mid-sem exam is going to be 10 to 20, and final exam is going to be 70 to 80. All right, so from this grading itself, you can actually target how much can you score. And the minimum for the A, which is 4.0 for each subject, is 80%. So you can try your best to calculate on how you want to score it, meaning that you have to sort of segmentize. Maybe you lose a few marks here, a few marks there. That's okay. By the end of the semester or by the end of the program, you should be able to sort of understand how you can work yourself around the structure. So like for maybe English here, like not this is not Moet, for example, you can maybe score 40% in the final exam, maybe 5% here, and maybe the whole, like maybe you can get a full percent, which is 40% for the assignments, and you can still get an A because 40, maybe 5, and then maybe 40 here, you can still get an A. So that depends on how you want to work yourself around the gradings. So it's very important for you to sort of understand what you're trying to pursue first and plan things out accordingly. And again, if you don't get what you want to achieve, that's okay, because you can always try one more time, or maybe try to understand what went wrong by asking your lecturer or even your friends, say, hey, what do you think I did wrong here? Or anything like that. So yeah, personally, I didn't get 4.0. I got 3. But by the end of the matriculation program, I got 3.55. I got 2 scholarships to 2 different Australian universities, but both of them are half scholarships because they don't offer international students full scholarships. So that was kind of a bummer. So I decided to go with a local university, which was UM. Right. So I hope that answers your question.
But one thing, please enjoy yourself as well. So you are
Yeah,
not
definitely.
seriously enjoy yourself. If let's say you during the weekend you study a lot, then sorry, during the weekdays you study a lot, then we can go for watch movies or whatever to go.
Reward yourself.
Yeah, reward yourself. Yeah, always make sure you reward yourself.
Okay, next. Aliaa, don't mute yet because this is for you again. It's from Aina. What are the advantages that students will gain from matriculation, for example?
Okay. One of the gains that I'm not sure about the others, but this is what I gained personally. I learned how to work work under pressure, like really under pressure, because at one point I had so many assignments to do at one time. Because again, matriculation is not 100% exam based. You have some courses to do, let's say projects or maybe quizzes to do and like tutorials to do and all that. I learned to work under pressure really bad, and that's something I had to train myself over the year, and that has been really worth it, because in the university I'm able to manage myself even more, mainly because I learned what I can't do and what I can do, and I understand my own limits. So that way, well, it's kind of like testing your own capabilities. So this is when I kind of failed and tried to do whatever I wanted to do. And with advantages, another advantage is you practically study for a really low, so how do I say this? A really low cost, meaning like I mentioned, 550 ringgit for accounting for the whole 1 year. That's a steal, because you can't get there anywhere else. And as for, let's say, science students, let's say 600 ringgit, and then you also get some allowances by, like, say, every month or every semester. So again, it's like you're getting paid to study. So what's there to lose?
Okay, are you done?
I think so.
Okay, next, it's by Abdullah for Naif. How is your social life during foundation?
It's great. You mingle with a lot of people. You will know a lot of people from Johor, from Perlis, and everywhere else around Malaysia. And you can also find your find, I don't know, girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever you want, because it's in it is free. You can do whatever you want. The only restriction that you have is to go back to college before 12 a.m. That's it. But there are some people who just went over the gate when it is past 12. So that, I think that's not really a problem. So the social life that I think, because when you mingle with good people, you will learn a bit from them. When you when you meet a new person, you will learn a bit from them. You also learn how to study, because before this, I think in during my school time, I rarely go to study groups because I don't think it really works. But when I go into this foundation, it really taught me to um, study in groups, because we have a lot of project groups, the presentation. Almost every week we have presentation for either biology, physics, or chemistry, or even English. You will have to present for English too, just like our project this one. So it requires us all to have a study group to present. So it also teaches me to um, how to blend in a community. I think that's all.
Okay, Naif again. How different is the foundation syllabus from the SPM syllabus, and what do they have to expect?
Oh, okay. So let's take one subject. For example, biology. Okay, I took biology back in foundation. So during your school time, you will only learn for the basic level, the surface of the ocean. When you come into the foundation, you will learn much more thing that you never thought that you will learn. For example, the um, the class of well, first of all, I need to tell you that biology is divided. They can be classified into four biology: biology one, biology two, biology three, biology four. Biology one and two for semester one, biology three and four for semester two. So just by having these four different biology subjects, that means that you will learn in depth more than what you will learn back in school. Uh, you will learn about the family tree of human. You will learn about the carbon cycle or whatever it is. I've already forgotten about it because I didn't learn about science right now. And it also, let's take chemistry. Chemistry, you will learn about the chemistry. You learn about the, for example, back in school you will learn about the basic chemical reaction, and then after in the foundation you will learn about the, for example, um, I don't know how to say it, but what to expect from it is you need to be prepared, because lecturers, they usually expect you to learn first before they get into the class. So I did it sometimes. I read it before the lecturers come in, just to have a little bit of idea what the lecturer is going to talk about. Then the difference of syllabus SPM and foundation is, I think, not that far, but it is a little bit difficult from SPM subject. I think that is it.
Okay, Naif,
Hmm?
is there a
Oh,
necessity to bring a printer to UM?
oh, okay. For this one, when you get into UM currently has 12 colleges in their compound. Okay, and then foundation student will be placed on college 11, college 11. Okay, and then in this college 11, everything is provided: the cafeteria, the hall for programs, the also the printing shop. You will not have to bring any printers to UM because it's not necessary, and it is also not, it's also prohibited. Okay, you can only bring laptop, chargers, and telephone and handphones. That's it. And then the price of printing items is low. Don't be worry, don't worry. Like 20 cents, I think. So it's affordable and it is easier for students.
Okay, next, Alia. Okay, Nurin asks, can she simply choose any course in the uni after finishing her matriculation program?
Okay, regarding that, I think I kind of explained that I tried to. I wasn't sure of my path, what I wanted to do in my degree life. But when I was applying for my in my UPU, I found out that I was limited to several options because that option specifically, which is early childhood education, was only open for accounting students. So I wasn't aware of that, and I don't think neither of my friends too. And yes, you can actually simply choose whichever that's available in the courses available in the UPU, for example. But overall, there are some limitations because they want to make sure that everyone has equal amount of chance to get into the university. So they don't want science stream students to take over the whole options, more or less. And I hope that answers the question.
Okay, next. How did you guys blend in with your friends, lecturers, and people in the campus? Because sometimes students they have some sort of culture shock. Anyone wants to answer this?
Okay. Um, I do agree. Yes, some people have culture shock, but you'll be surprised when you get into your degree because there'll be more people going through culture shock. And what I mean by I'm saying this is because in your pre-university, it's only like a taste of freedom, more or less. It's not really freedom, but it's like a taste of freedom, and it's important for you to sort of digest everything that's in. Sorry, my neighbor is doing construction, so you may hear some construction noises. Okay, so practically what you need to do is you have to digest and process whatever that you are currently facing. And like I mentioned, try to see ahead of time, meaning plan your semester wisely. And okay, like you mentioned that you want to blend in with new friends, lecturers, and people in the campus. I can safely say that being a student is the easiest way to make friends because nobody expects much from you. So you can just straight away sit in a cafeteria or anything like that and just brought up a conversation like, "What are you eating? That looks good." And then and then the other person will obviously, "Oh, I'm eating this. Oh, how much did you buy that?" And then you can just make a conversation just simply by asking what that person's eating, and maybe even ask, "Oh, what program are you like?" For example, I was pursuing in science, so I always ask, "What program are you pursuing? Science or accounting?" "Oh, accounting." "Oh, how is it? How are you guys?" Just ask. I feel like you have to make the conversation. It's actually a lot easier to make friends with students rather than those of working because they kind of expect that you want something from them.
Yeah, I
Right.
want to add some.
Yeah.
For your, let's say, for your degree or any program, usually we will have a group discussion or group work. So it will be more easier for you to blend in because when I first time go into A level, I didn't know people, but due to my group work, I tend to get to know them more, and that is how I make friends. So with your lecturers, it depends. If you are someone who always asks your lecturers questions, then your lecturer will know you and you will get to know each other better. So yeah, that's from my experience. So it's okay guys, don't worry too much. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, I think that's all. Next, Naif, do they need a laptop before going into foundation?
Based on my experience, I do not use laptop that frequently during my foundation years because most of the works that we have been given are hands-on assignments. Like the project assignment, that project assignment, and then presentation. It doesn't really depends on laptop, and I think the only times that I need laptop was when I need to write a report on something. I think English. English requires me to write using laptop. So I think the necessity to buy laptop, maybe yes, you need to buy laptop, not just for your foundation, but also for your degree, because during degree, you will have assignment for every subject. So for example, this semester you take 7 subjects, so you will need to have a minimum of 7 assignments in each semester. So that's a lot. I think buying now is the safest way to do.
Okay, next is for both Aliaa and Naif. What is the difference between matriculation and foundation?
The main difference is foundation programs is uh, usually be done in the headquarters of the university itself. For example, mine ASUM is located in the University of Malaya itself. And then for UITM Foundation, they have their own place in Dengkil. And then I think this environment is actually something that helps us a lot because by staying in the main campus itself, you will learn how does it feel to live as a university student, how to study as a university student. Because compared to if you are, I think the main differences between school and university environment is that in school, I think everyone is friendly, and then you can actually learn from anybody that you want. I think almost everyone is friendly, but in university itself, maybe uh, not that friendly. They do not want to help you with your subject that you are struggling in. So it kind of helps you to prepare you mentally and physically about how to handle this thing in the degree itself. I think that's the main difference.
Okay, as for me, I think matriculation and foundation programs are different in terms of the structure itself. But overall, meaning that your student lifestyle, which is 8 to 5, is more or less similar. It's just the year program. Let's say if you want 2 years, you can go for matriculation, but you can't do that with foundation. And the allowances are also different, a huge difference, because my friend who was pursuing her what's it called, her foundation in law when she was in UITM, she had to apply for scholarships individually, meaning that they don't really get allowances as let's say this by default, if that makes sense. But generally, I think they're both more or less similar. Okay, can we proceed with the next question?
Yeah, okay. Aliaa, what are the preparations that they have to do before going into the science course for matriculation? Do they have to do like any revision for the Form 5 and Form 4 subjects?
Okay, I think this is actually a good question because I asked myself that one too. Okay, what I did was I bought textbooks regarding this matriculation programs textbooks that you can buy in the stores, but do keep in mind those are based on publishers' insights. They are not exactly, how do I say this? The questions that they have inside the textbook may not be related to the current education, like meaning the updated version of each year of the program. So um but what you can do is you can just buy one book for each subject that you want, and then sort of skim through. And if you have the time, feel free to study the first 2 chapters or more or less, because this will definitely help you on understanding the subjects better when you are pursuing the matriculation. Mainly because the first 2 weeks or the first 3 weeks is when you try to adapt yourself inside the matriculation's lifestyle. So you wouldn't be focusing much on learning things, mainly on adapting yourself first. So that's why I encourage you to sort of skim through, or maybe print out the lecture notes that once you have enrolled and be given the access to the portal. So that way you will be adapted better. That, I guess.
Okay, sorry. This is for Naif. Is MUAT and foundation different from any university? Naif, your mic is mute.
Okay, sorry. So first of all, you need to understand what is MUET. Okay, MUET is a requirement for any student before entering a degree program. Okay, so and this MUET requirement differs from a course to another course. For example, my degree program, economics, they required I think about bench three only. Okay, so if you have, for example, if you score lower than bench three, you cannot apply for economics in during degree. Okay, um, the, there are no differences because all tests are the same whether you took it when you are 18 years old or whether you are 20 years old. All the procedure are the same. They will have the writing test, speaking test, and listening test. You will have these three components that will need to be answered. And I think the level of difficulties are ranging around the same level. They do not differ that much. Okay, I think okay. The MUET, they will have six level of grade. The band one, band two, band three, band four, band five, and band six. The highest level is the band six. And right now, all of us we scored that. I think we all of us band five. I think. Okay. So I think that's all. I don't know what to say anymore. But there are no differences between where do you take the test. It doesn't bring any difference.
Okay, now if we what will happen if by any chance this person does not get for flat for his life sciences during foundation in UM? Is there a chance for him to pursue his degree in UM itself because he really wants to do medic?
Okay. So speaking about chance, yes, there is a chance to go into medic in UM even if you don't score for flat during foundation because uh, to actually admitting someone into courses that they want, it takes several factors into account. So, for example, if you want to take medic in UM, you will have to take around February. I think the test is called the BMAT, BMAT. So, if you want to take medic, you will have to undergo this test around February, and then you will also have to have excellent result to be enrolled in this program. So, so let's say there are two people. The one who scored during foundation, who scored for flight during foundation, but didn't take BMAT test, and the next person is who scored 3.9 something, let's say, but take BMAT test. So the place will goes to the 3.9 who goes BMAT test because BMAT test is a requirement for any student who wants to go into medic in UM. And also your curricular activities also take into it does play a role. So be active during your foundation years and you will have a big chance to go into medic even if you don't score for flat in foundation.
Okay,
Okay.
can I add some? Because my friend is taking medic. So actually for medic, it's okay if you don't get for flat, but your chances are higher if you get for flat. Because basically in medic, the most important thing is firstly the math test, the one that Naif mentioned, and also the interview. So basically interview actually contribute to 70 marks of your uh, of your assessment, while your result is only 30%. This is from my friend's experience. So everything is actually depends on your interview also. If you did well in your interview, then your doesn't matter your result for flat or not, you still can go into medic. This one for medic in USM, I'm saying. Okay, so thank you.
Okay, next one. The best subjects to pursue computer science for degree. Okay, can I answer this for A level? Okay, for A level, because a classmate of mine, he's actually pursuing computer science in Oxford. So the subjects that he took were for A levels, maths, further maths, computer science, and also physics. Well, at the end of the day, you have to look at the uni's requirement because, like for example, certain unis they might require you to take like certain subjects like further maths. It's a must for them. So at the end of the day, it comes down to where you want to do your degree. So if you want to do like say in this university, you have to look at the requirements. So you have to take that subject in order for you to be eligible to enter that degree. And Aliaa, do you want to add since you're a computer science student?
Thank you. I actually wanted to mention the same points. You have to see which university you're targeting. It's actually a reverse engineering. You have a certain target that you want, and then you sort of tailor your path into that specific program's requirements, or you can sort of just go with it and then see what you can get. It's more or less like a the second method is actually more or less like a your luck, I would say. So best subjects to pursue for computer science, again, like what she mentioned, was maths and computer science. If you have physics, that's actually a bonus. But if you don't, then I suppose it's okay. Again, this depends on the university's qualifications and requirements. Like I mentioned, I took matriculation. I did not have physics for my matriculation. I took biology, the one with biology instead of physics. I took Model 3, so I am still able to pursue.
Okay, next, if we choose to study overseas, how much is the cost? So if I may say so, it depends on the country itself. Because if you were to study in UK, the average fees for an international student is around 20k pounds sterling per year. If you were to convert it to Malaysian ringgit, that will be around 100k per annum only for your tuition fees. And that is excluding of your living costs, your accommodation, the miscellaneous fees. So at the end of the day, it comes down to where you want to go. If it's UK, you have to look at the website. And also if it's like, yeah, Farah, do you want to add?
Yeah, but some country offer free tuition fees, like Germany, France. So for these countries, you don't have to pay any tuition fees, but you have to cover your cost for accommodation and living expenses. So some of the students who are studying in overseas had to do part-time in order to survive there. So yeah, so if you have the financial, then you can go, but if not, just stay in Malaysia.
Okay, I like to add something. Right. So I mentioned that I after my matriculation program, I received two half scholarships in Australia. Okay, I would like to repeat. The university only offered half scholarships for international students. They only offer full-time scholarships for Australians. Right. So you have to calculate how much cost that would be. Meaning, even if it's half scholarship, it would still cost me about 15,000 Australian dollars per semester, per annum, my bad, let's say per year. And then you have to multiply with that with the Malaysian currency, and then you have to also include your living expenses. So when I was calculating my fees, I realized that by the time I graduate my degree, I would be about 300,000 ringgits in debt, even with the half scholarship. So that led me to a decision whereby I need to proceed my degree locally, which is in So you have to take in account of every single path that you're trying to pursue, mainly because it affects you financially. And by having that kind of a hiccup of finance, let's say I pursued that 300,000 ringgit degree worth of tuition fees, that would cause me a huge dilemma or a hiccup when I finish my degree, mainly because I would less likely to buy a house in a shorter period of time, or maybe even buy my own my own car or something like that. So unless you are financially stable, and I mean by really financially stable, then go ahead and pursue. But just keep in mind that you have to think of the worst case scenarios. Let's say that one of your parents are no longer working or will be retiring soon, or will not be able and they are not able to be they are unable to be supporting you, then you have to think of other options too. And I highly recommend you not to beg online, because I've seen so many people who have done this, and I don't think it's a good idea, because you are the one who have chosen that path because of specific goals, and then you are burdening, like, you are practically begging online for people to sort of support you. Morally, I don't believe that is correct. That I think that is selfish, but some people do it. It's more like your own values. So I think that's it.
Yeah, and then one more, the one that Aliaa mentioned doesn't include the flight cost and all. So if what if you miss your family, so you have to prepare another money for your flight. And flight cost, of course, it is going to be expensive, right? So yeah, it depends on you juga lah.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I would also like to add. Sorry. I would also like to add.
okay.
Let's say, okay, like for example, my sister is pursuing IB, which is International Baccalaureate. It's a diploma. It's an alternative path to A levels. And let's say that let's say she wants to pursue in pharmacy, and then she wants to go for overseas for that specific degree, pharmaceutical degree, whatever. Okay, and her cost of living would be about Sorry, the degree itself would be about 500,000 ringgit, which is half a million. Whereas compared to in Malaysia, it's a lot cheaper. And then if you have to pay off loans and yada yada yada, just think of which one is more suitable or more sustainable option for you. That's just what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay. This one is by Aina Christina. Can we get a scholarship to overseas if we do not score straight A's for our SPM, I guess? How can we get it? Anyone wants to answer this?
Usually, okay, from my experience, because I didn't get straight A, so there I don't have much options. But when I got Jacob, the condition is I'm gonna be a local sponsor. But those who are straight A students, they got sponsored for overseas. So if you are asking me, if you didn't get straight A, your chances to go for overseas under sponsor will be really low. Okay, that's what I can say. But it's okay because later during your pre-university, you still can apply for any scholarships that are available for you to apply. Okay, I hope that answers. How can we get it? You go for website afterschool.my. There are a lot of scholarship that they will actually give for you to apply. Okay.
And I also want to add that for scholarship application, it is extremely strict process. So based on my experience, I got straight A during my SPM, I've applied for 5 scholarships and I didn't get any, not even for the interview. So here I think the main point is the strict, the higher the level of scholarship. For example, like the top ones like Bank Negara, Petronas, JPA, and all that, they really have a strict requirement. So they and of course they want to take the crop of the cream. So they will try their best to take the best out of this bunch. So they will usually go for the straight A plus ones, for 8A plus students and all that. So I think here is the chances of getting scholarship to overseas, even if you do not score straight A's, is extremely low. I think so. The best way to get it is to work hard and score straight A's.
Okay, next by Kaisara. In A levels, is there a high chance of failing? Okay, so for me personally, for A levels, I took maths for the maths and economics. But you asked, is there a high chance of failing? I would have to say it comes down to you. It comes down to yourself. If you actually study hard, if you actually do the past year questions, then the probability of you getting an A star and an A is better definitely. So at the end of the day for A levels, you have to study like according to the subject. Like for example, for economics, oh, you have to read the textbook, ensure that you understand the economics, like the all the chapters and all. Yeah, like what Farah showed. But for further maths, the subjects that I am taking, you have to understand for further maths for the CIE board, there is no one specific textbook for us. So in order for you to actually do well in that subject, you have to go around and maybe look up like physics textbooks and also like calculus on YouTube for you to understand the subject better. And you have to do lots and lots of past years. Like for further maths, the bare minimum is like doing from 2002 up until 2018 for your A levels. So at the end of the day, I guess it all comes down to you. If you actually study well, if you actually follow all the things, all the objectives, and I guess you can actually do well. You can even get an A star. It's not impossible.
Yeah, and then a lot of past year are available with answers. And also, if you go search your YouTube, there are a lot of tutors for A-level subject, especially economics. So
Yes.
no high chance of failing. It depends on you. You decide. Okay.
Okay, next. Sorry for asking. Is this session recorded for later? Oh, yeah. This session is recorded, so we will upload it later. So in case if your internet connection is really, really bad, you can't view it now. You can view it later, actually. So next by Akmal, can an average student apply for A level? Okay. So the standard requirement for, I can't say for all, but for most A level colleges is like 5 credit for SPM. It depends because like for KYUM it's different, for Epsom it's different, but for the most of it it's 5 credit. So you can apply, but the probability of you getting a scholarship or a sponsorship for your A level is very low. Farah, do you want to add or Sherry?
Yeah, even for my institution, the requirement was 5 credits. So I think that's like the basic one.
Same goes to my college, but for Intech, actually, they give you discount if you get an A in subject. Let's say if you got 8 A's or 7 A's, you can get discount for each A that you get during SPM. So your fees will be lower than the original fees. Minimum 5 credit juga. The same like Sherry and
Okay, by Hazim in, oh, this is for Farah. In A levels, you are fully sponsored by J Car.
of
You are
course,
fully.
yeah,
Oh,
fully sponsored by Jacob. Yes, I'm fully sponsored by Jacob starting from I start my A level until now. Fully sponsored. Not don't have to pay anything. But I have to make sure I get their requirement. I apa macam what is I say? I pertahankan my requirement. What is the word? Like that lah. I have a requirement that I have to get. Yeah. So as long as I get it, then I'm still under them. If not, then no lah. Bye bye.
okay, this one. What is it like learning economics? I'm not sure if it's the subject economics like for degree or like for A levels. I'm not sure, but Farah, Naif.
Okay, in learning economics, firstly there are a lot of essays, there are a lot of graphs, but you are going to do well if you actually understand the graph because usually the marking they will make sure that you label the graph correctly and all. And also the essays for economics, it needs you to be able to analyze things. Let's say if they teach you about a theory, you have to be able to analyze the theory and more like critical thinking situation for ada juga. Some sort of it juga. But for me, I love economics. It's my passion. Okay, economics is my passion. So if you are someone who like essays and graph, then go for economics. Maths, you in economics, your maths actually doesn't really apply, but there are still maths, but more to essays question and all. I hope that answers a bit.
Naif, do you want to add?
I agree with what Farah said. I don't have anything else to add. Okay, so that's it.
Okay, this is for Farah as well. Applying for Jacob Scholar, do we need SDKA because it's Johor based?
Okay, actually for Jacob, Johor Education Sponsorship Program, everyone can apply. But they already stopped their sponsorship last year. So there will be no longer JESP for you to apply. And yes, and they don't need any SDKA, only your SPM result and yourself for you to get Jacob. But now you don't have any more. So yeah, you have to search for other scholarship that are available.
Okay, next is A level at universities the same as A level in IGCSE. Okay, so I have to clarify that in Malaysia we have like the two most common exam board for A levels are EdXL and also CIE, Cambridge International Exam, and also EdXL. So from my experience, because I took further maths, so further maths for CIE, Cambridge International Exam, and also EdXL is slightly different, like the syllabus, but you learn more or less the same thing. Farah, anything else? Oh, Sherry, nothing. Okay. Okay, so oh, Naif, another one for you. Should I enjoy a foundation life or work really, really hard for it? What benefits do I get for excelling in foundation?
You can, in my opinion, you can still enjoy your foundation life and still work really hard in it because you can still, like I said before, if you create your own timetable, your study timetable, and finding out the way on how you should learn or with whom you should learn. So I think it is not a big problem because, for example, back in my time, I also like to talk to new people, knowing new people, and also at the same time, you work really hard by by staying up late, doing revision, finishing the tutorials, lab reports, or whatever. It still doesn't what I say. Uh, yes, you should work really hard for it, but that shouldn't stop you from enjoying your foundation life. Um, what benefits do I get? Benefits that do you get by excelling in foundation course is yes, during you can see during your application in UPU, because for example if you get 4 flat, so that means you are on the front line that universities will pick to enroll in their courses that have been offered. For example, if you score 4 flat compared to students who only score 3.5, let's say, which will you pick? So it's clearly the board will take the crop of the cream, which is the 4 flat one. So that makes you the first pick for each courses. So that's benefits that you get for excelling in foundation. And also it will help you in securing scholarships, which will ease your financial burden, your parents' burden. So it will help you in the future. So work hard. Hmm.
Okay, next, what is the requirement to enroll for A level? I think we've answered this just now. So at the end of the day, it actually comes down to the college itself that offers the A level. But for most colleges in Malaysia, it's 5 credits. Okay. Next, if I were to take MUET, if I want to apply for overseas, do I need to take IELTS? Okay, so it comes down to the requirement of the university itself. Like I said, say if you want to apply to the UK or to the US, you have to look because all of them for their bachelor degree programs, they have the requirements. Like for example, for the UK unis, they'll say, oh, you need at least 6.5 for IELTS for your to enroll into this course. So you have to look at the uni itself. Okay, next. Assalamualaikum, saya ambil YTP Mara scholarship untuk fly ke France. So saya dihantar di UniKL MFI untuk 1.5 tahun sebelum fly. Soalan saya, adakah saya ambil Asasi ataupun A-level ke UniKL? Confused ni. Second question is kalau nak fly, kita kena compete dengan other students ke? Ataupun kita kena capai satu pointer untuk fly? So anyone wants to answer this?
Okay, so actually your program is actually, it's not A level, it's actually a foundation. This more of like same with A level, tapi but A level it is a UK education system, but for your program it is a French education system based, if I'm answering that. So it's like a foundation for France. And then second question, if you want to fly, do you have to compete with other students? Actually, it is more to your pointer. It depends on your result for you to fly. So if you manage to get the requirement, then yes, you can go. There's no such thing as competing with other students. If for scholarship, yes, then you have to compete with other students. But for you to fly with your pre-university, your pointer is the most important thing in order for you to fly. I hope I answered that question. Shazrin, your mic is mute.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Is it true? Okay, I think this is for Aliaa. Is it true that if you want to pursue Matric for a degree after Matrix, they will still take into consideration our SPM results, even though we already passed the CGPA requirement for the medic course?
No, it will not. They will only care about your matriculation and if you meet the requirements for the MUET. Right. So let's say if you have 4 flat students who are applying for medic degree, they will consider if this person is these two people's MUET results. Let's say this one is Band 5, this one is, let's say, Band 4. They will obviously choose the Band 5 ones, and then they will also consider what curriculums if they have joined any curriculums, any clubs in their matriculation as well. So they have several. I don't know what is the matrix for it. There's a matrix that is enable them to select this, but generally they will consider MUET as well as your pointer, meaning that if you were to compare 4 flats, they will consider MUET as a part of that decision.
Okay, next. By Akmal Masron, if we got the local PESP offer, do we have to apply for UTP ourselves or will Petronas apply for us? Do any of you have any answer for this?
Okay,
Farah?
usually your sponsor will apply it for you. Like for my sponsor, for my A level, they actually did everything. So I just register on the according to the date that they give me. But you have to confirm this back with Petronas whether you have to apply it yourself or they will apply it for you. So yeah, but usually they will do it lah for you. But please make confirmation again.
Yeah, Akmal, so I'll try to ask my friend who's currently in UTP. So just WhatsApp me if you're seeing this. I'll try to get a specific answer for you later. Okay, next. This is for Naif. Do we need to compete in UPU after we finish our studies in Pasung?
Okay, the answer is yes. You still need to compete in UPU, but for the privilege of becoming a Pasung student is around February, something like that. These Pasung students will be given the chance to choose first whatever you want for degree, just like UPU, but only for Pasung students. So in this case, all these Pasung students will be the first pool that is going to be picked from the main program. So for example, if I'm a engineering faculty, I will pick the first ones from this pool of Pasung students who chose engineering in this system. You guys understand? So that means being a Pasum student is like kind of like a privilege for you, for you who wants to study in VM, because you will be the first pick for every faculty. And then for the UPU, yes, you still need UPU will be done twice. First, after before your no. First is after you finish your semester one, and then the second one is before you finish semester two. So there will be like system three times that you will need to fill in your choice for the degree. The first one is the first UPU during after the semester one. The second one is for the PASUM student, which is the first pool for degree pick, and then the third one is the second UPU choices after you finish just around after you finish second semester. So yes, you still need to compete in UPU, but PASUM students are being given the priorities. Uh, that's all.
Okay. Last one for today. Okay. Is MUET easier than IELTS? I think the only one who did both IELTS and MUET is Farah. So I think you should answer this.
Okay, the degree of hard, the degree of toughness is actually basically the same. But what makes it different is the speaking test, because MUET, your speaking test is in a group. But for IELTS, your speaking test is individual. You and your panel, you and your examiner. But basically the reading, the listening, and also the what else another one, writing, is just basically the same with MUET. But they have different marking, different band. For MUET we have band 1 until band 5. For IELTS we have until up to band,
Correction, band 6.
oh my god, sorry. We have until band 6. But for IELTS we have until band 9.
Nine.
Yes, band 9. So basically they are just the same, but what makes it different is speaking test for IELTS is harder because one-to-one with examiner. Okay.
Okay, I like to add, based on my experience of handling international students, because I used to work with UM in the international students office. The level of IELTS is actually a little bit more lenient compared to MUET. So if you were to get band 5 MUET, you are actually about IELTS level 8 or level 9, more or less, like something like that. So IELTS is a much more, it's a lot lenient. So if you have requirements for IELTS, let's say level 6, you are actually, it's more or less equivalent to MUET, let's say band 4 or 3, more or less like that. So
Yeah,
I hope that answers your
yeah, I would
question.
have to say that because I took IELTS, the component that was the hardest would have to be the writing one. The others were actually okay because it was just like comprehension and listening, which was relatively quite easy, if I may say so. It was only the writing part that was actually tough. So I guess that's all for today. So okay, before I end this, we will give you a link for the feedback form. So via WhatsApp and also email. Only when you have answered the feedback form will you get your e-certificate. And if you have anything to ask us after this event, you can just contact us personally through WhatsApp, Instagram, whatever you want to do. So I guess that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. And this recording will be uploaded on YouTube soon. And we'll give you the link, definitely.
Thank you for staying. I'm actually quite humble that we still have about 40 people in here.
True.
I hope this session has has enlightened you on how the journey has been and how it is, the structure, maybe the comparisons between these different paths as well. All right.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much, guys,
Thank
for
you.
joining us. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Good luck for your
Bye-bye.
session.
I'm gonna end the session. Okay, let me stop recording first.
It will stop. Auto stop when you end the thing though.
Oh, plus if you want to know more about UM, just ask us later.
In the yeah, ask us in the chat, like
Yeah, ask us in the chat.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp chat. Okay, bye bye.